here we go. Hello there, everyone out in YouTube land. And welcome to some of my students here. We have Greg and Eduardo, Deborah and Leo and Chris, of course. And welcome again to Tom Salta Masterclass Live. I realize that it's really hard to always get everybody available at any given time of day or day of the week. It's a busy time of the year. But I wanted to welcome you all and have our monthly chance to kind of connect and talk to each other live and ask questions. I'd like to see what you guys are up to, what challenges you're dealing with. I also want to bring you up to speed on some really cool things that are happening right now with the series. I'll start by saying that Friday morning is the actual live release of the new Scoring AAA Deathloop Edition course, the 7+ hour course. So it's going live Friday morning. We have a crazy pre-order sale going on now for $160 off of that. It's for another 24 hours only. I'm extending it just 24 hours. I will show you a trailer of it right now if this button works. So let's check out the trailer. I've often had up-and-comers say to me that they wish they could be a fly on the wall while I or other composers are working on a score. Such opportunities are rare and almost unheard of, and certainly composers tend to be very private with their work. Until now. I'd like to present you with the next of my masterclass series, Scoring AAA Deathloop Edition, where I show you my entire workflow in scoring one of the most celebrated games of 2021. Watching Scoring AAA Deathloop Edition is almost like sitting next to me during the entire process. In this 7+ hour course, I will show you exactly how I review the original development brief, analyze reference music, and come up with unique musical styles and ideas. I will also give you a detailed overview of every theme, cue, and layer for the entire score, including stingers, cutscenes, and even a track-by-track breakdown of the main theme and area music. There we go. Okay. It should pop right back in. Okay, cool. So, sorry YouTubers out there. I think my computer exploded and I literally had to reset everything. Not sure what happened. That really sucks. So, anyway, let's get into some more special announcements. One of the things that I have done an incredibly horrible job with, besides knowing how to run technology on live events, is letting everybody know, including current students of the Masterclass series, of the crazy discounts that are already available to you right now. Libraries are not cheap. I know, we're always looking for the latest and greatest thing. And as a student, and here I'm going to just do something safe. I'm going to do a quick screen share of this one little discount. Here is a little screen, just so you can see, of what we currently are offering to all students of the course. This is pretty amazing because this really means that this course pays for itself and then some by getting 50% off Cinesamples or 30% off Heaviosity, 50% off Arturia. I mean, those things can be hundreds and hundreds, thousands of dollars worth of stuff that you're getting that percentage off. So the cost of getting one of these courses pales in comparison to what you can be saving on these. So don't forget about it. And this is all year round. This is not some kind of limited time thing. So you don't have to wait for Black Friday or Cyber Week. You have it right now. Okay? So So anyway, again, I'm sorry I haven't done a better job of advertising that, but it is on the Masterclass page. So if you go to tomsalta.com and click Masterclass and scroll down, you're going to see all the benefits that you have there. Are we good now in live land? I think we are, right? We have thumbs up. Okay, perfecto. All right, so guys, don't forget to raise your virtual hands, because we can kind of talk a little bit details. Now I can talk about anything and everything with Deathloop. Before I couldn't. So now we are fully authorized. All right, well, how about this? How about I'm going to ask you guys a question. What are your biggest challenges at the moment? Think about that. What are your biggest challenges at the moment? Juan, there you go. Ding, ding, ding. You're first. Talk to me.
Okay. Right now, I'm starting a second career since my first. I just finished my first one on piano interpretation, so
Really?
right now it's learning how to improvise at the piano
Yep.
correctly,
Yep.
because before was that great. And after that, perfecting my skills at composing music, just composing music, not in the game business, creating music in general.
Right?
So that's my second career.
Okay, good. How about a third? Just two for now.
When I have the time. When I have the time.
Yeah, I gotcha. I hear you. No, you have to pick and choose. All right. That's excellent. So what, anyone else? What are some of the challenges you're dealing with? I'd like to help if I can. If you have questions pertaining to any of that, because we can talk about, part of this whole business that we do. It's all about, it's a career, right? So there's tons of things that are involved in this, and we sometimes forget that we are business women and businessmen and entrepreneurs and marketers and all of that. So it's really important. Greg, you have a question.
Yeah, I guess kind of where I'm at right now is I compose on a laptop, and I am kind of in the place of figuring out how to dial in tracks. Like, I'm learning more about contact and
Right.
multi-timbral, lining up all those things, and I kind of will just like study things, few videos online, and go one direction with it, and then kind of find out a little more about articulations on separate tracks and things. And I think specifically one of the issues that I ran into was when I was trying to lay down like a multi in contact. I could get like expression and dynamic adjustment to happen only on the top instrument. So it's like more of a technical issue there.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess just so you see where I'm at, I'll be like getting into something I wrote, but then just kind of being like, oh, I think I hear something I want to do with that more, but like, am I going to work on it? And I'm like, no, I think I'm going to wait because I'm still a little in that overwhelmed.
Because you're battling the technology.
Yeah, a little bit of that for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So I know that there's a lot of schools of thought on this when it comes to contacts and multis and articulations. Oh my. Contacts, multis, articulations. Oh my. So that's like a whole that's a whole thing. So each one of those is kind of a different, one, the articulation strategy, and two, the multi strategy. Yeah. So what I personally like, and I have reasons for liking it, which we can talk about, is I don't use contact in multi-mode anymore, ever. Okay. The only time I use contact in multi-mode is when it's a multi-instrument that literally layers sounds that are all live on that track. So I create each instance of contact as its own instrument. Years ago, it was more important to maximize that because you wanted to kind of squeeze as much horsepower as you could, and we were thinking that, well, it would use much less if you have one and then just different MIDI channels within inside one of them. My understanding now is that it's actually, believe it or not, you can get more efficiency by running multiple contacts, one for each instance. And one of the reasons for that is how it divides the workload among the cores on the computer.
Okay.
So if you load everything in one contact and you got a million things happening there, it's all getting forced on one core. That's the way I understand it. I don't know if they are changing that again with the new architecture and the M1 chips and whatever, but the way it currently is, at least on my machine, 2013, I use a 2013 Mac Pro, is what I just said, is that it's better to have individual instances for each instrument. So I'll have 80 contacts,
Yeah.
or whatever it is. So that deals with that issue, the multis. The second issue you're talking about is articulations. Mm-hmm. Again, schools of thought. My strings, my first violins, do I have one instrument and then just keep going between spiccato and sustain, like a real violin section? I do not do that. So I do a separate track per articulation. There are two main reasons for that. One is that I want instant access to it right there, and then I want to be able to jump back and forth. And sometimes I layer them, quite frankly. I'm not a purist when it comes to that kind of stuff. Sometimes I want to layer multiple articulations together at the same time.
Right. Sure.
So it's way easier for me to just see track, this is my pizzicato, this is my, spiccato, this is my, sustain, this is my legato, and I can have them all individually controlled. Here's the second benefit of it. I don't know about you, but I hate chasing MIDI control messages. I know some of the non-techie people are like, what are you talking about? I'm talking about, like, if you have a key command and you switch between one articulation and the next. And let's say I want to jump around. Well, unless they are all merged, at least this is the way it is in Logic, unless they're all merged into one MIDI region, it's not going to chase properly. It's not going to know what the last one was. So it's like, oh no, this is supposed to be, a pizzi, but then it's playing sustain, and it's like, no. So separate track for each instrument, separate track for each articulation. That's the way I do it.
Just straight up, yeah, okay.
Just keep it nice and simple. And the other big benefit of doing individual instances for each contact instrument is that you don't have to worry about the effect routing. Before, it gets to be a pain in the buttocks, because now it's like, well, if they're all going out the same stereo, then I gotta, it's gonna go to the same reverb. But then if I gotta route it to aux channels, and then the aux, it's like, no, I just want it. Each track is its own thing, old-fashioned, laid up across the board. Turn the reverb up on that sound. I don't have to worry about which aux send is it going to, and this is sending to. It's too crazy. It's just too crazy, Especially when you don't have like a set template set up. A lot of composers have this kind of like this, this skyscraper of a template where it's like, don't touch it because you'll break the whole thing. I don't work that way. I like just a lot, every project I do, I build it from scratch, and I don't have to worry about that crazy routing either. It's just so much simpler and intuitive. So, a big answer to many embedded questions.
Yes, that's great.
I hope that helps.
Yeah, that works.
Juan, is this a new question? Come on in.
Yes, but I think Chris is before me.
Oh, Chris, I'm sorry. Chris.
That's all right.
Did your hand camouflage into your background? I didn't see it. Either that or I have to put on my reading glasses. All right, go ahead. So, what's your question, Chris?
Well, it wasn't a question. It was following on from you asking about great challenges, and one that I find, and I think a lot of people will as well, is getting on someone's radar without being annoying, if you know what I mean.
Oh,
so whether
I do.
Session musician,
Yeah.
Just trying to let people know that you're available, you have these skills, but without bugging them. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. Yeah, the art of not being annoying, but still being, what I like to say, politely persistent. Okay, so we'll add another P to that. Politely, patient, and persistent. I think there's a lot in there. If you are trying to get someone's attention and you reach out, first of all, I always think it's really good to establish a connection first, a relationship. Just, hey, how are you? You take it nice and simple, one step at a time. I understand the temptation to, try to close the deal because it's like, oh, I might not get this person's ear again. And that happens a lot at conferences, when we were doing the in-person stuff, which I hope we will be doing again next year, but it's like people come up and you can kind of see it. They're like, okay, I got my business card. So, hi, how are you? My name is Tom. Hi, what do you like to do? Hi, okay, by the way, and I'll close the deal. Here's my business card. It's like you try to do everything at once, and it's not the way it works. It's kind of like trying to... I like gardening, so I like to parallel gardening. It's kind of like, taking a little seedling and like pouring all this Miracle Grow on it and trying to pull the leaves out so it grows really big. And it takes a little time, it's all about relationships. So what I would say is be patient, be politely persistent. Let's put it into reality. Email land. Let's say you do have a correspondence. Hi, Joe Blow. Nice to meet you. Hi, Jane. I'm very familiar with your projects. I really am a fan of your company, your work. I love what you guys did with XYZ game. Really good to be specific with your compliments. Okay? It shows that you're not just like copy pasting them. It shows that you're not just like blanket marketing like, hey, everybody, I'm writing you the same note because you're not worth my time to write a custom note. So once you do that and you establish a connection, you say, hey, can I ask, is it okay if I follow up with you, in 2 weeks to see how you're doing? They might say yes, or they might say, no, actually wait like till the end of the month. No problem. And you do that. And then you politely, persistently wait that 2 weeks or the month or whatever it is, and just send a note. Hey, just a quick follow-up. I just want to let you know I'm still interested, whatever. Okay, you do it again. Will they respond? Maybe, maybe not. If they do respond, fantastic. If they don't respond, what I would say, do it one more time, but not the next day. Wait another 2 weeks or a week minimum, and then one more time. If it's a 3-strike and you're out kind of thing, I'd say let it go. And don't take it personally, everybody, because a lot of times it has nothing to do, in fact, most of the times it has nothing to do with you. What it has to do with is the timing didn't work out. Meaning, even with me, someone could reach out to me right now and be the best trombonist in the world. Okay? Best trombonist in the world. Hey, Tom, I'm at your disposal. In fact, I'll do it for free. Right? No, never do that. Never work for free. But my point is, I might say, great, that's awesome. Wonderful to meet you. But right now, I don't need a trombonist. Okay? But let's put it into the game world. Game companies, they got these cycles. They'll be working on games for years. All right? If they're already in the middle and they have a composer already, they're not even going to pick their head up for another 2 years. 3 years, maybe. So it's all about the timing. That's why it's about relationships, because everybody wants to hire their friends. And if you do develop a relationship, if you do develop that face recognition when you're like meeting them in person, that's wonderful, because they're like, oh yeah, hey Bob, how you doing? Hey Betty, what's going on? That kind of thing. And then you become a familiar face. So it's this kind of intertwined serendipitousness that can work in your favor if you're just politely patient and persistent. A big answer, but it's a very key question, and it can make the difference between getting a job or not, really, truly. So great question, Chris.
Thank you. That's great.
Excellent. All right, and do we have any questions in YouTube land? I probably lost everybody. Oh no, I have some people now, because we had a huge blow up. Anyway, I'm just going to repeat, and then we're going to go to Juan. I just want to just repeat that for those of you watching, we are going to be releasing the next masterclass course. This is a flagship course, 7+ hours. Deathloop. It's going to be called Scoring AAA Deathloop Edition. For 24 hours, we're extending the pre-sale, so you can get $160 off of the course. So don't miss this. Just go to the website and I will give you the code. In fact, I'll put it up here. Let's see if this works. Oh, good. Yay, it works. So if you haven't already, this is the code. It's pre-160 loop. No, sorry, pre-160-D loop. There it is. Okay, and that will get you $160 off. And please do keep in mind that you are getting not only this course, but this gets you into the major student discounts, which I'm putting the screen up again, that everybody has access to who's a student. So right here, this can pay for itself easily, and then some. 50% off Arturia plugins, Cinesamples 50% off, 30% off Heaviosity and XLN audio, and 20% off Project Sam, and more to come. All right. Whoops. Cool. All right, so let's get back into it now. Juan, you are up. You have a question for us. Go for it.
Yes. First, have you been to a game jam? And second, what would you recommend, if you have been, what would you recommend to do or have prepared before going to or assisting to one, participating into one game jam?
Oh, that's a really good question. Two questions. One, yeah, I have been to a game jam. In fact, we have one local. It started in Stamford, Connecticut, and I'm based near there. So I spoke and keynoted a few of those game jams. I never participated in it as a musician to work on a team, but I witnessed it. And we did have several musicians come in. So what would I say? What would I be prepared for? Very simple. I would be prepared for anything. What that means is game jam, I would say, if you want to be ready to play. You want to be ready to record. So I'd have your, maybe even your mobile rig. Maybe you want to come and press everybody and have your keyboards there. Or if it's a kind of thing that you leave and you go in a team or you do remotely. But basically what you want is you want to be ready to hit it. You want to have your shop all set up and your tools sharpened and ready to go. So that, and you want to be just fresh and ready with some ideas. So, the thing with game jams is that they're very quick. Quick. We have, 48 hours to make a game from scratch or something like that? Or whatever it is. Or a week, I don't know. But the point is, you don't want to waste time figuring stuff out, so you want to be ready to go. So if I were to attend a game jam and I wanted to be a composer and be ready, I'd say, yeah, I'm ready to go right now. What do we want to do? What kind of music are we looking for? And then keep in mind that less is more. For something that you have to do so fast, don't bite off more than you can chew. I'd say keep it simple. What's the simplest instrumentation that I can choose so that I can spend more time focusing on good music and less time focusing on a 100-track template where I only had time to write 2 notes. You know what I mean? Just be ready to go. Hit the ground running. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, good. Eduardo, it looks like you have a question for us.
Yes, I do.
Well, excellent. Your camera's off, but that's okay.
So you were talking about making connections.
Yes.
And so my question would be about having an agent. It's something that I don't I know absolutely nothing about.
Yes.
So I was wondering, what are the pros? What are the cons? Does it make sense with in-game audio, or is it more like a movie, Hollywood thing, TV? I don't know. So yeah.
Really good questions. To agent or not to agent? That is the question. And I'm glad you used the term agent because, some people get confused between the term agent and manager. And they are 2 different things. So really an agent is what we're talking about. An agent's job, just so we're clear on it, is to help you get more opportunities, to help you to step in on the negotiations, the business side of the negotiations, to act as an intermediary for contracts and things like that, to kind of guide you on the job, to to bring you opportunities to help you pitch, help give you, put you on the front lines to pitch, and then if you get the job, to negotiate it, and then they'll take a percentage for that. Okay, and most standard agreements are where agents will take a percentage of everything you make through those channels. In other words, if you have a game agent and you're doing video games, the typical deal is that agent would take a percentage, I'll say whatever, 10 to 20% maybe on average for that kind of arrangement, and then they would receive that commission. Some agents will actually bill for you, and some agents will have you do the billing, and then they send you an invoice and you pay them when you get paid. Okay, so there's no standard way of doing it. But that's not your question. Your question is pros and cons of agents. Okay, let's think about it. The pros. Well, the pros is to potentially get more opportunities than you can get on your own. That's a pro, but that doesn't mean it's guaranteed. Some agents don't. Some agents can't really help you like that. Some can. So you want to find one that proves themselves to bring you more opportunities. If you're sitting around for 6 months and they didn't give you any opportunities, you could be like, hey, what's going on? And they say, we're pounding away. I sent your stuff out. I've been pitching you, and that's great. But after a certain amount of time, you might be like, bye-bye. What's the con? I mean, the con is, let's say, you yourself are getting gigs because of your own direct connections, whether they are previous relationships or whatever. And the agent's just sitting there collecting a paycheck from your commissions. That's not a good deal, right? But it depends on the agent. It depends on the composer. It depends on where in your career you are, right? It depends where you are on I hate to say it this way, but on the food chain. There are some agents that represent lots of composers, some big ones, and some who are just starting out. I've seen unfortunate situations where, if you are on the totem pole instead of the food chain, let's put it that way, and you are kind of a newbie without the credits, but then they have some composers who are a bit further along in their career with more established credits, I've seen agents sadly upsell from one composer who's less experienced to the job going to the composer who's more experienced. Why? Well, because they can get more money that way, because that more experienced composer would charge more. That's a bit unethical, and you don't want to be in a situation like that. So my last piece of advice for anyone who's considering an agent or a manager is, and I would tell this to my own, family, if anyone, personal friends and family, generally speaking, some of the best agents, the best time to get an agent is when they approach you. Does that make sense? In other words, not when you approach them. Now, there's always exceptions to that rule. In fact, I broke that rule when I was starting out in games, where I kind of approached some agents and I just happened to hit it right. I think for me, I hit it right because I did my research and I found an agent who represented not too many people, but the people they did represent were really good. So it wasn't like we have 20 composers, they had 5, that kind of thing. So we can continue kind of discussing this, but I'm just giving you an overview of the pros and cons, I hope. Did I do that, Eduardo?
Yes, that was great.
Okay.
That was great.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
can't tell from your expression because you're not moving, and you could be saying, "Yeah, that really sucked" right there, and
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
I'm smiling. Trust me.
Oh man. All right. Excellent. So I'm wondering whether I should try that trailer again. I'm scared. I'm really scared to try the trailer again. Should I do it or no? You think? I don't know. You get the idea. I don't know. I might try it. You know what I'll do? I'll try it right at the end. This way, if I crash, we'll just abandon ship. All right. So, back to you guys. Any challenges you're dealing with, or any specific questions you might have about any projects that I have worked on recently or not so recently, and particular anything in Deathloop, because it's fresh on our minds. In fact, I could play some music from it as well. We could talk about any bit of it, whatever that you want. So this is an opportunity to kind of have a little real-time conversation. Anything on your minds? And let me not forget to look at YouTube land. Okay. Greg.
Yeah, for Deathloop, I'm just curious about the performance of the parts. Like, did you have a lot of sessions? Did you do remote sessions with musicians? Did you get like actual orchestras?
Yeah.
Did you have people? That's the vocals. Like,
Yep.
How did that process go for you?
Right. So Deathloop was one of those projects where the style of the music and the scope of the music budget was not going to allow me to consider any large ensembles. Plus, it wasn't really necessary because the majority of the score isn't heavily orchestral. There are orchestral elements in it, but it's not really relying on, 70-piece orchestra where, some of it will sound like it, but it wasn't necessary. So what I was able to do is prioritize the kind of live sessions, live musicians that would make the biggest impact on the score. And that was the decision that I made going into it. So in the case of Deathloop, I worked with several amazing players. Chris Frost, right here, being one of them. He played guitar. He was one of the guitarists. I had Steve Wamette, who I've known for many, many years. He's a guitar hero, literally. Roto, another amazing session player from Nashville. So I had 3 different guitarists on it, plus all of my fake guitar work, which some of it sounds quite convincing, I have to say, thanks to some strategic distortion and clavinets. And also Philippe Sace was another musician. I've known him since the mid-90s. Philippe Sace is a legendary jazz player, and I believe we're going to get some footage from him soon that we're going to be adding to the masterclass, even after it launches. So he was amazing. I mean, he's got a real Rhodes. He's got real clavinet. He's got vibraphone, and he knows how to play the stuff. He's got, piano Steinway. He's got a 1971 MIDI Moog. So we were breaking out stuff and going through some old signal chains, and that was a lot of fun. And then the only vocalist to appear in the score was Airly Brighton, the one and only. And I had her perform on the main theme. So if you can hear that theme, it was really good. And then of course, I almost forgot, on 1 or 2 pieces of music, I also brought in live saxophone by David Mann. Thanks, Chris. So David is great. In fact, I was listening to David Mann on CD 101.9 on the radio. He's one of those really established saxophone players who's been on tons of records and toured. So, I bring in the best people I can, and the way we worked, it was all remote. So I would prepare the music, prepare the cues, prepare the stems. I would give them a bunch of instructions and guidance. Sometimes melodies to play, sometimes guidance, and just say go ahead and improvise. And so I usually like to do a combination of asking for specific things and then giving that player as an artist some creative freedom to be themselves. and then just to kind of just jam and do some stuff. And I think that strikes a really good balance so that I can take that material, sift through it, and then place it where it best works in the score.
Great.
So
Okay.
that was fun. So I look forward to you seeing a bit about that. And in the Deathloop Edition course, there's a pretty substantial video that goes into detail, especially for you guitarists out there. Oh my goodness, man. You're going to get free lessons in crazy detailed guitar tones and a lot of cool stuff in there. So
Cool.
yeah, that was a lot of fun. I always love working with session players. Good question, man. Thank
Excellent.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Cool. And let's see. Oh, Chris, I see your hand this time.
Yeah, just because you mentioned if anybody wanted to hear anything from the game, there is one that I do have a soft spot for, since you mentioned Philippe Sace.
Yes.
And that Charlie's Explore. I would
Oh.
love to hear that, because the composition on that is just out of this world.
In fact, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. In fact, a brand new trailer just dropped today. In fact, if you can, Chris, or anybody, go on my Facebook page, any of my Facebook page. I just posted it, and if you paste the link here, I might be able to share it. The YouTube link here, I can play it for everybody. So what's cool about this is they just launched a trailer after the game released. Right, the game came out September 14th, so we're here at October 27th. But they just released a new trailer. And this time around, they actually wanted to. They like the music from Charlie so much. We're talking about Charlie in Deathloop, the target, the visionary, that they wanted to use it in a trailer. So it didn't fit exactly moment to moment. So what we did is we started with that music, and then I trailerized it. I adapted and timed it out, and brought Philippe back to update some of the horn arranging that we did in it. So it was very, very funny. In fact, let me see. Thank you, Chris. I think I have it right here. So let me go and see if this works.
Imagine.
Now let's see. How can I share this? Ooh, this is going to be a little tough. I'm going to have to go full screen. I think that's the way I'm going to have to do this. All right. So I'm going full screen. I can't see you guys, but can you see my screen? Chris, I'll have to hear your voice and say yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Here we go.
Imagine the world's brightest minds working together to achieve the greatest advancement in human history.
Boom, baby!
Yeah. And then Colt decided he needed to break the fucking time loop. Looks like I'm just gonna have to break him instead.
Anyway, I think it was struggling a little bit there, trying to stream from YouTube and broadcast to it and Zoom at the same time. But you could hear a little bit of that? Good. Yeah, that was basically a nod to Nelson Riddle and, you know, the 60s swing bands approach that they used in the old, like, Batman series on TV with Adam West. You know, that bam, bam, da, da, you know, so so campy and cheesy. I love it. So, yeah, we had to do some of that. The pow and the wow, exactly, all of that. That's exactly right. So you're going to hear that music in Deathloop when you get to that part with Charlie. So, a lot of fun. All right, excellent. Goodness. Okay, so I'm going to try once again to play the trailer. But before I go, I just want to remind you and everybody that I'm extending the pre-sale on this one more time for 24 hours. So last chance, folks. If you want to bite the bullet and get the Deathloop edition, you're going to get $160 off, plus all those crazy deep discounts on products for as long as you are a student. So you can buy the class now, and 6 months from now, you can get a discount on all those things. So it's It's really good. Okay, cool. And what else am I forgetting? Let's see. We got the educational discounts. What else? What else? Anything else? Any other last questions? Okay. Then I'm going to play the trailer. Stick around, and if it crashes, I'll say goodbye now, but I hope it won't. All right, here we go. I've often had up-and-comers say to me that they wish they could be a fly on the wall while I or other composers are working on a score. Such opportunities are rare and almost unheard of, and certainly composers tend to be very private with their work. Until now. I'd like to present you with the next of my masterclass series, Scoring AAA Deathloop Edition, where I show you my entire workflow in scoring one of the most celebrated games of 2021. Watching Scoring AAA Deathloop Edition is almost like sitting next to me during the entire process. In this 7+ hour course, I will show you exactly how I review the original development brief, analyze reference music, and come up with unique musical styles and ideas. I will also give you a detailed overview of every theme, cue, and layer for the entire score, including stingers, cutscenes, and even a track-by-track breakdown of the main theme and area music, and even my session musician hires. After that, you will see exactly how I arrange and prepare the music for delivery, how I name files, and even my quality control. Every facet from the initial blank slate to submitting deliverables is all covered in this groundbreaking new course in the most comprehensive way I've ever done before. No matter whether you are a professional game composer or aspiring to be one, I promise you, this one-of-a-kind course will be invaluable to you. Come join me for this musical journey in Scoring AAA Deathloop Edition. I'm Tom Salta, and this is my Masterclass series. Cool. All right, we're back, so I get to say goodbye to everybody. Folks, don't leave me here in Zoom. Stay where you are. I'm just going to say goodbye to everybody on YouTube. So thanks a lot for being here today. And we're going to be doing this again on November 24th. So we'll have even more to talk about then. So until then, I'll see you all later. Don't leave on Zoom. Okay. Bye, YouTubers. Take care.